The Department of Public Health and Human Services is pleased to bring you Aging Horizons. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, fraud, legal issues, veterans benefits, and caregiving. Aging Horizons is a program dedicated to inform and prepare Montanans on these timely issues, making a difference to you and your loved ones. Here now is today's program host.
Hi folks, today on Aging Horizons we're going to be talking with some long-term care ombudsmen. We have Jamie Laprouse and Marion Steffes with us, and we're going to be talking about what an ombudsman does. We know they're advocates, we know it's a kind of a weird word, but they do so much and bring so much hope and advocacy to the community. We want you to hear all about it, so stay tuned.
This is Bill. He just received his new Medicare card and is following some simple rules to protect himself from fraud. He knows to never give out his Medicare, Social Security, or bank number over the phone. And this is Nancy. She knows that to detect any problems, she always reads her Medicare summary notice or Medicare Advantage EOB to make sure the billing is correct. Both Bill and Nancy know that anything suspicious can be reported to Montana SMP at 1-800-551-3191.
Good care is your right. In Montana, there's over 11,000 beds in nursing homes and assisted living facilities. If you or a family member needs assistance or help in obtaining information about care issues and placement options, call 1-800-332-2272. If you or a family member need information about Montana's long-term care resident rights, or if you need help solving a problem or a complaint about a nursing home or an assisted living facility, call us at 800-332-2272.
Providing long-term care for someone in need is a labor of love, but it is a labor. Time apart is healthy and necessary both for the caregiver and the person receiving care. It allows each a respite, time to relax and recharge. If you're a long-term caregiver, visit the new Lifespan Respite website. Financial assistance may be available. Respite for caregivers. It's okay to need it. It's okay to want it. It's okay to get it.
Is that Robert Knievel? Captain Lewis, Captain Clark, I'm officially Evel Knievel now. I'm getting my Montana Real ID.
Did you make an appointment at mtrealid.gov?
Yes, sir.
Smile.
About my non-laminated Social Security card, 2 documents proving my current residential address, and my certified birth certificate.
Approved.
Go to mtrealid.gov.
Now I can fly. It's that easy.
Hello everyone and welcome to Aging Horizons, brought to you by the Department of Public Health and Human Services. I'm your host, Kimmy Everman, and today we're going to be talking with a couple of our long-term care ombudsmen. They're part of an advocacy program that we have at the State Office on Aging that is really there for folks that are living in facilities who may need a little bit of support. We have with us, first of all, Marion Steffes. Marion, nice to see you. And we also have Jamie Laprouse. Jamie, welcome. And let's just stay with you, Jamie, and we're going to chat for a minute about just what is the program of Ombudsman all about?
So for a long-term care ombudsman, the residents of nursing homes have the right that is granted by the federal nursing home reform law. The law requires nursing homes to promote and protect the rights of each resident and stresses individual dignity and self-determination. Many states also include resident rights in the state law and regulations.
Okay, so that was a very fancy sort of blurb. Let's talk about what you really do, because we know that what you're really doing out there is really standing by and supporting folks who need your help. Talk a little bit about what an actual day is like for an ombudsman, Jamie.
So we visit facilities at least one time per month, nursing homes, assisted livings, and critical access hospitals. We work with the resident to resolve complaints that are made by the resident. We educate consumers and long-term care providers of resident rights and good care practices. We promote community involvement through volunteer opportunities, provide information to the public on nursing homes and assisted living facilities in critical access hospitals, promote the development of the residence and family councils. We work on any type of complaint the residents might have. Some complaints could be cold food, haven't had showers in, a week or two, call lights being on too long, the food not being very tasty. Food seems to be kind of a big complaint on most.
Sure.
We go to resident councils as well whenever residents request that we go. We work with the residents regarding physical, verbal, or mental abuse, quality care. If the residents were to get, a discharge, a 30-day discharge eviction notice, we can work with the resident and facility to try to resolve that. If the resident wants to, vote, we can assist them on getting that opportunity. So anything that the resident would like us to do, we can help them.
Yeah, because Jamie, really, what you're speaking to, in my opinion, is how anyone wants to live their life with good, tasty, warm food, the ability to get out and go vote if I want to, rights to what I have going on around me in my environment. And these are all things that Ombudsman really provides support for. Would that be true?
Yes. And we can work with the resident on being able to go out of the facility for some outings as well.
Yeah. And I think it's important for us to be real clear that your advocacy begins with that resident. That you're not an advocate for their family. You're certainly not an advocate for the facility. You're there to help that person. Is that right?
That's right. We can take complaints from the families or friends, but we do always go in and meet with the resident to get permission to act on those complaints. Right. Sometimes the family may have concerns or complaints, but the resident themselves is happy.
Right. So it's a very, very resident-driven program in terms of where you kind of stand with your support. Now, you're also a regional ombudsman, which is slightly different than the local. Can you just describe that a little bit?
Yeah, so I have, my area is 4 and 5, so Helena, Butte, and Bozeman areas. So I give support to my local ombudsman. I have a local in Bozeman and Butte right now. And whatever they may have questions with or, it needing assistance, I can address that with them as well.
And you help them, you guys are always busy. The ombudsmen are always busy, so I'm assuming that you also pick up whatever slack needs to be picked up when you don't have someone else to do that. Because you guys really have a lot of territory to cover.
Right, yes. I am covering Helena right now because I don't have an ombudsman in that area. So I also go to Helena and do facility visits every month to service the residents so that they don't have to go without an ombudsman.
Sure, that's awesome. And folks, we really want you to be very aware of this very resident-driven program. We want to make sure that residents know that they do have rights, whether they live in their own home or whether they live in a facility. They don't lose all their rights. And the ombudsmen are there to help support them and help them if they don't have the voice to verbalize what they need. Come on back. We have a lot more to talk about.
Every 65 seconds, someone is affected with Alzheimer's or other dementias.
Many become isolated at a time when help is most needed. If you or someone you love is affected, help is available, both for people with memory loss and their caregivers. Memory loss can feel frightening, but you are not alone. Call the free 24/7 Alzheimer's Association helpline, 800-272-3900, for guidance and support.
Elder abuse is a growing problem, and it's happening right here in our Montana communities. At least 1 in 10 older adults are victims of physical or emotional abuse, financial exploitation, or neglect. To get help or report elder abuse, call your local area agency on aging or Adult Protective Services at 1-844-277-9300.
Here in Montana, we love our outdoor activities. Unfortunately, few of them are risk-free. Indeed, Montana is second in the nation per capita in head injuries that can destroy the lives of people we love. That's why you should insist your family always wear protective helmets. But you can do even more. When you fill out your vehicle registration this year, circle the Y and donate $1 to support traumatic brain injury prevention and education. Now that's using the old noggin.
I was angry and upset when the doctor told me I have diabetes. I just didn't want to deal with it, the needles and the diet restrictions. But after I started to learn about it, those feelings changed. I was at risk for a heart attack caused by high blood sugar. That got my attention. I started watching my diet and making sure I got enough exercise every day. I want to be around for my grandkids, and now that I know what to do, it seems like a small price to pay.
Ask your doctor about diabetes education or visit montana211.org.
Hi folks, welcome back to Aging Horizons. We're here talking about Ombudsman today, and with a couple of our Ombudsmen. First we have Jamie Laprouse, and Jamie is a regional long-term care Ombudsman. Jamie, nice to have you. We also have Marian Steffes, and Marian is a local long-term care ombudsman. So also welcome to you, Marian. And let's talk to Marian for a sec, because there's a difference between what the local person and what the regional person is doing in the ombudsman world, I guess. And Marian, you're really the boots on the ground, aren't you? Jamie is too, while she's filling in, I guess. But you're out there seeing these folks every day and helping them in the community.
I do. My primary role is to go into facilities and visit with residents and to be an advocate for them. And so every day I kind of look at my calendar to see what kind of calls I have gotten, what kind of prioritize where people are having troubles, and then visit that facility, because we try to go into facilities unannounced so it's not always complaint related. Mm-hmm. So the facility never knows if I'm coming in because of a complaint or if there's just saying hi. A lot of times it's just to say hello to the folks, checking in with them, seeing if everything is okay, if they have any concerns. And a lot of times it can be very, it's fun. It's sitting down and listening to their stories. And many times it's just letting them talk, because they feel so much better afterwards. And I said, is there anything you want me to do to help you? Mm-hmm. No, just talking to you made a huge difference. I just needed to tell somebody what's going on with me and my family. So it's not always a bad thing. I think sometimes ombudsmen, people kind of like shy away and go like, oh no, she's looking for trouble. Right. Well, and I'm not. I just offering my help in any way that I can.
And I love that you try to stop by unannounced as you do, and you say right up front, it's not always a complaint. Sometimes it's just to say, hi, how's it going? Is there anything I can do for you?
Majority of the time, that's what it is. Little things creep up, and I always tell residents it's always better to try to start from the beginning of a concern, because if you let it go, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's harder to solve at that point in time, because there's so many hard feelings, or they're angry, or they don't trust the facility anymore. So the sooner you can get somebody to, sit down with you in administration or whoever it is that needs to be, discussion with, the problem gets resolved much easier and it feels better. There's no residual tension or they don't like me now because I did this, that kind of thing. Retaliation is a huge concern for residents in care facilities to file a complaint because they, sometimes residents have felt shunned, like coming down a hallway, they're not talked to, they're not said good morning to. They feel the difference when there's retaliation going on. Caregivers don't come to their rooms anymore. They're afraid that they're going to get reported. Things like that happen to residents in care facilities. So it takes a lot of courage on their part to come forward and say, I really don't like this. I can't live like this anymore. I have to have something help. I need help with that. So they're good.
Well, and Marion, I think I'm so glad that you said your piece about the courage it takes, because it really does take a lot of courage for that person. And I think for those of us in the audience and we three, we need to always remember that this is their home. This is where they call home. It's where they put their head on the pillow every night. And for them to feel that they're being retaliated against or some difficulty is going on, tension or whatever, that's their home. And we need to do everything we can to battle that back.
They have a right to be at their home, to be home, to feel like they're at home. They have a right to choose how they want to spend their day, when they want to wake up, if they want to eat lunch, what they want to do during the day, if they want to go to activities or not. So it's not like they're living in a community, but it doesn't dictate what they do, and what they choose to do. So it's they have to feel comfortable, and if they're feeling uncomfortable with the caregivers, with administration, they're living always in tension or stress, and stress eventually gets to all of us, and you can't enjoy where you're at anymore.
So
and moving is huge.
Yeah, and Marion, yes, is it ever. So moving into the facility can be a huge trauma for that person. Just as well, it's, again, good to hear you talking about the choices that they get to make. I mean, I think about myself and how, some Saturdays I don't get dressed at all. I only wear my pajamas all day. And I want to be able to do that and not be told by someone that I cannot. And so it sounds to me like you're perfectly suited for your job. You seem to really know and understand what's behind some of that tension.
And just having a knock on the door before someone comes into their house. When you go visit somebody at their door, you knock on their door or ring the doorbell for you before you come in. Right. So because like you're saying, you're in your robe or you're just getting into the bath, into the shower or something like that, and a caregiver comes charging into the room to give medications. Well, that's not what they were expecting to be doing at that moment in time. So it's disturbing to think that they can just come into your room anytime they want when they're entering your home. Right. And they need to respect that privacy and respect you as a human being.
And
in your house.
We have a lot more to talk about, folks. Stay with us.
I was outside working on some equipment, nothing too strenuous. I started sweating and feeling out of breath.
When he felt pressure in his chest and aching in his arms, I knew we had to call 911.
First responders were there before we knew it. 38 minutes later, the doctors had restored the blood flow to my heart.
Now we know dialing 911 saved his life.
Your life is on the line.
This message sponsored by Mission Lifeline Montana.
I take care of my wife at home. When I found out training was available, I said, sign me up. It's made a huge difference.
When my husband was injured at work, it was life-altering. The classes taught me that it's okay to grieve, to ask for help, and to better cope as a caregiver.
My dad lives 4 hours away, and the Powerful Tools classes taught me that it's okay to ask for help. I highly recommend them.
To find out about this course for caregivers, go to powerfultoolsforcaregivers.org.
It's amazing the difference a little training can make.
Out here,
We love our animals, from the wildlife to the livestock. Inside, it's the same. They're just like family. We keep them happy and healthy, most of the time. Secondhand smoke puts pets at risk for cancer, feline lymphoma, vomiting, increases the risk of tumors and lung cancer, even causes eye and skin disease. Secondhand smoke puts your pet's life at risk.
Did you just text me?
I didn't want to disturb you if you were sleeping.
Sleeping? I'm sitting right next to you, silly.
There you are. Hey, I found a couple of Medicare helping programs online that I think we ought to look into.
It says if we qualify, we can get help paying for our prescription drugs. Oh, and there's a program that can help pay our Part B premium.
To learn more about extra help and Medicare savings programs, call your local SHIP counselor today.
Maybe I better text him.
Hi folks, welcome back to Aging Horizons. We're talking about Ombudsman today and advocacy for folks who live in facilities. We have with us Marian Steffes. Marian, glad to have you with us. And we also have Jamie Laprouse. Jamie, and we're going to stay with you, Jamie. You're one of our regional long-term care ombudsman, and I wanted you to talk a little bit about reporting complaints.
Yeah, so you can, if you just want to report a complaint to the local ombudsman, you can call a specific ombudsman in each area. So if it was area 4 or 5 for Helena and Butte, you can contact me locally at 406-782-5555. Or you can call the 1-800 number, 1-800-332-2272. And if you would like to do an online complaint to the survey department with dphhs.gov and don't have access to a laptop or iPad, we would be willing to help you do that and bring in those items for you to go ahead and make that online complaint as well.
Jamie, that's awesome. You know, we're such a technical world anymore, and we have this whole generation of people who really don't have access.
Right. And it's pretty limited in facilities of what the residents have access to.
Right. So what happens if that, let's say that a person calls you from a facility and they want your help to file a complaint. What would happen?
So I would go in with my laptop to their room at a time that would be best for them. And they would kind of direct me on what to do. If they are capable of putting the online complaint in on their own, just with my laptop, then they go ahead and do that. And if they are not, I have typed everything out and reread that to the resident before submitting it so that it's in their words and not mine.
And then what happens after that? You know, you push the submit button and then what?
So then you'll get a notification saying that it was all submitted. I show that to the resident so that they're aware that it was submitted. And then we'll inform them that they will most likely get a letter in the mail from DPHHS.
So what do you know, we talked about this with Marian. Do you run into folks that are concerned about being retaliated against with these complaints?
Yeah, they are pretty worried. Typically, we try to work with the resident with their concerns and try to resolve the issue before it gets to that point, so that the facility has an opportunity to fix what's going on. Right. But if they, would want to put that state complaint in, that's completely up to them.
Right. Well, and as we've talked about a couple of times today, it's not looking to trip somebody up, and I really appreciate your feeling that we can get on this right away and maybe not have to file a complaint. Maybe it won't get to that point.
Right. I think just making sure that the resident is making the decisions, on every complaint and how it's addressed is what we need to focus on.
And I think also just being heard, that they feel that they're being heard is probably just as huge as it can be for them, especially if they're concerned about retaliation.
Correct.
Yeah. So before we leave you, Jamie, just very, very quickly, what do you think your favorite part of this job is?
My favorite part is working with the residents individually and being able to resolve some of their concerns or complaints that they have and how that makes them feel when that's all resolved.
Well, thank you so much for all that you do. We're really grateful to have you on the team. Marion, the same question to you. What do you think is your favorite part of this job? Because it sure seems like you've taken to it like a duck to water.
It's the residents, their stories, their life, their adjustments that they've made to come to the community and live in the community they're living in, the journey that they've traveled to get there. And just like, it's always fun to see the smile on their face that you spent the time with them, spending time that they don't sometimes get, well, even with family members sometimes, because they're always traveling and everyone's so busy. So going in and saying hello, having a good day, just puts a smile on their face. And it just makes me feel really good that I made someone feel better that day for that moment of time.
And would you because you've mentioned something that we didn't quite get to today, and that's that acclimation journey to get from usually their home to this place. That must feel good to help someone along that journey.
It is, because there's a lot of, I'm sure, fear. Like, how am I going to be treated? What it's going to feel like? Just getting their apartment, their home situated like they want, their furniture, their belongings, their pictures on the wall, just to make it comfortable for them. Their books where they want them. They can, their reclining chairs, all that sort of thing. Their bedroom arranged right, like the way they have it. So, and then to start making new friends. They some of them haven't made new friends. They're like 80, 90 years old. And to be able to just going to a bingo game and playing bingo, and I met somebody new today, and talking about what they're doing in the community. So it's just kind of fun to watch them make that, have someone who's lived at home since they're like, some of them, like people are 93 years old and they're just moving at that point in time in their life. It's incredible. Yeah. And they're just so thankful for there's someplace for them to go, for someplace for them to be cared for and to be watched after, to be safe, and just to know that they're content for the rest of their life, the remaining part of their life.
Marianne, thank you so much for that. Jamie, thank you so much. We've really enjoyed talking with the two of you today, and we're glad you're out there. Appreciate your work very much. For Aging Horizons, I'm Kimmy Everman. Thanks for being with us.
Special thanks to the Department of Public Health and Human Services for their continued support. Hosts on Aging Horizons are program specialists at the Montana Office on Aging. Production facilities provided by Video Express Productions. For more information about Aging Horizons, call the Department of Public Health and Human Services toll-free at 800-332-2272.